Good morning, everybody. Myself, James Joseph, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce, E.K. Nanar Memorial Government College, Elarithat. Today, I would like to give an overview of the determination of residential status for individuals for income tax purposes in India. Before going to the topic, we should understand what is the purpose of deciding residential status, or why residential states of individuals are important. As per the provisions of the Income Tax Act of 1961, the scope of total income of a person is decided based on his residential status during the previous year. That means, to decide what all incomes are to be included in the total income of a person, the first thing we have to see what was his residential status in India during the previous year. As per the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961, there are two sets of conditions for deciding the residential status. They are the basic conditions and the additional conditions. There are two basic conditions. The basic condition number one, the individual has to be in India in the previous year for a period of 182 days or more. The second basic condition, he is in India in the previous year for a period of 60 days or more and has been in India for a period of 365 days during the 4 years preceding the previous year. In order to be a resident in India, an individual needs to satisfy any one of these two basic conditions. That is, either he has to be present in India for 182 days or more. If not, he has to be in India for a period of 60 days, and along with that, he should have been in India for a period of 365 days or more during the 4 years preceding the previous year. So, if one satisfies any one of these basic conditions, he becomes a resident. And remember, for the second basic condition, there are two exceptions. Number one, in the case of an Indian citizen who leaves India in the previous year for the purpose of employment abroad or as the member of the crew of an Indian ship, his stay in India should have been for 182 days instead of 60 days mentioned in the second basic condition. The second exception is in the case of an Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who comes to India in the previous year on a visit. Then also, his stay in India during the previous year should be for 182 days instead of 60 days mentioned in the second basic condition. So in other words, we can say that in the case of persons covered under these two exceptions, the second basic condition has no relevance at all. For those persons, in order to be residents, they have to satisfy the first basic condition by being present in India for 182 days or more during the previous year. So now we know whether a person is resident or not by seeing whether he satisfies the basic conditions. Now the second set of conditions, additional conditions. The first additional condition says that an individual has to be resident in at least 2 out of the 10 previous years preceding the previous year. The second additional condition, he has been in India for a period of 730 days or more during the 7 years preceding the previous year. These are the two additional conditions. A resident individual can be an ordinarily resident if he satisfies both the additional conditions. If he fails to satisfy any one or both the additional conditions, he becomes a not ordinarily resident. And when a person becomes non-resident, if a person of an individual does not satisfy any one of the basic conditions, then he is a non-resident. And remember, if a person is a non-resident, there is no point in checking whether he has satisfied the additional conditions. This is very much important for deciding residential status, knowing these sets of conditions. Let me recall what I have said. There are two sets of conditions for deciding the residential status of individuals in India as per the Income Tax Act 1961. The first set of conditions, basic conditions, an individual needs to satisfy any one of the basic conditions, and remember the exception to the second basic condition. So an individual, if he satisfies any one of the basic conditions, he becomes a resident, and in order to become an ordinary resident, he needs to satisfy both the additional conditions. If he fails to satisfy any one of both the additional conditions, he will be a not ordinary resident, and a person becomes non-resident if he fails to satisfy both the basic conditions. Thank you.